This video has unlikely beginnings and it has to do with astrology. The astrologers say that an important transit is happening on May 1st as Jupiter transits the sign of Taurus, and this could mean expansion provided you declutter your space to facilitate it. And so I have been going through my Google Photos and doing a bit of decluttering, also in the hope that my YouTube channel will expand. So if you haven't got this blatant hint that I want you all to subscribe, well, I, Sangeeta Venkatesh, I'm going to request you with all humility, please subscribe, like the videos, and as I do put in a lot of research to get you authentic information about destinations, temples, culture, history, and spirituality, both in India and abroad. So by the time you are busy smashing the subscribe button, let me show you these lovely red lilies which have bloomed in the garden. Despite the scorching heat and water shortage in Bangalore, and we're all praying hard that the rain gods show us some mercy. So while decluttering, I stumbled upon my pictures from 2015 and my trip to Bharuch. So it was an official trip where I was part of a team that was looking at the sanitation, the availability of toilets, and waste management in a village close to Bharuch, where I'd gone to do an assessment. And I sincerely hope that water and sanitation is better in that region now. So, but however, even when I'm at work, I always try to check out some local gems that reflect the history and culture of the region. Now, coming back to Bharuch, it is strange that I actually studied and obtained my master's degree at the MS University, Baroda. It's just so close to Bharuch, but I never had the time to travel back then. So here I was, nearly 27 years later, and I will share my experience, even if the picture clarity may not be the best. Nestled along the banks of the majestic Narmada River in the western Indian state of Gujarat lies the ancient city of Bharuch. Steeped in history and rich in culture, Bharuch stands as a testament to the enduring legacy of the Indian civilizations. Now, why do I say ancient? Well, Bharuch boasts history that stretches back millennia. So it is one of the oldest cities in the country in the Indian subcontinent, with archaeological evidence suggesting human habitation dating back to the Stone Age. It has been mentioned even during Ptolemy's time that it was one of the chief ports of Western India with a thriving trade with the West. It was known as Bhrigukacha in ancient times. And therein lies a wonderful legend. Bhrigu, as we know, was a learned rishi or sage, and he was one of the Prajapatis. If you followed my videos, we talk about the Prajapatis very often, who are the facilitators of creation. Indeed, he was one of the Manasaputras of Lord Brahma and was born out of Brahma's mind. That is, mind born son. And did you know he was the first compiler of predictive astrology and also the author of Bhrigu Samhita, an astrological Jyotisha classic written during perhaps somewhere around Treta Yuga? So, a lot of astrology going around in this video, certainly. So, there are many anecdotes related to Rishi Bhrigu, but we will go back to Bhrigu Kacha and how the place got the name. It is believed that Bhrigu sat on a tortoise, during the great deluge which happened, which everybody knows about, and then traveled to the Narmada River. Now, the tortoise is known as Kacha in many vernacular languages, including Sanskrit. Of course, Kurma is the most commonly used word in Sanskrit. Hence, the place got its name as Bhrigukacha, which later became Bharukacha or Bharakucha. So, quite a few, permutations and combinations. Then finally, it came to be known as Bharuch, in short. And the British, of course, had to further shorten it by calling it Broch. But of course, today we know it as Bharuch. So, like I said, since ancient times, the city has been an important hub for trade and business, and it was a bustling hub for traders from all over the world, including those from Persia, Arabia, Africa, and Europe. Because of its very strategic, and advantageous placement along important trade routes. Furthermore, evidence from archaeology points to prehistoric human occupations, and the majority of architectural and archaeological treasures unearthed from Bharuch's excavations along the Narmada River. So afterwards, Bharuch was part of, it came under the Guptas, the Gurjara Pratiharas, the Western Satraps, and the Mauryan Empire from about 320 to 185 BCE. And very interestingly, Bharuch was known to the Greeks and Romans by the name Barigaza. So it was ruled by, of course, the Rajputs later, then came under the Muslim kings of Ahmedabad, and then, of course, it was severely plundered by the Portuguese in 1536. The Dutch and the British also came here finally. So quite a checkered history from the quiet days of Rishi Bhrigu. So, Bharuch is not only Gujarat's oldest city, but also the second oldest city in the Indian subcontinent with continuous inhabitation. Now, quiz time. Let me know if you know which is the oldest city in India with continuous inhabitation. So, if I am in the city, I definitely want to visit the temple that is dedicated to Bhrigu Maharaj. The Lord in the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says, amongst the sages, I am Bhrigu. And such is the elevated position the Lord gives to sage Bhrigu. I took an auto rickshaw from a hotel to the oldest part of Bharuch, zigzagging through the narrow lanes. That's the best way to go. Don't try taking a car, and reach the temple, which is located in the Dandiya Bazaar locality in the old town. The temple, of course, looks very ordinary from the outside, and it is supposed to have been constructed between 1675 and 1686 AD by Marathas. It is believed to be the very spot where sage Bhrigu sat down to write the first Indian astrological work, Bhrigu Samhita. Of course, I don't know if that is very accurate, but we will go with popular faith. And Bhrigu Maharaj is supposed to have analyzed some 5 million horoscopes, which is just amazing. And only if a person with some amount of divinity could do could execute a task like that. So inside the temple, you find sage Bhrigu's idol. Alongside, you also find his son Rishi Jamadagni's idol, along with his wife Renuka. They, as you may know, are parents to Lord Parshurama, one of the Sapta Chiranjeevis and an avatar of Lord Vishnu. We've spoken about him at a length, when I recorded the video on Vadakanathan temple in Thrissur city, town in Kerala. And I will link that video in the description box, and do go and listen to it. It's got very interesting details. So there is also a figure of Rishi Durvasa in the temple and a panel dedicated to the Dashavataras of Lord Vishnu. There is an idol for Lord Ganesha alongside with his consorts Riddhi and Siddhi, which seems to be a later addition to the temple. There is another part of the temple that is quite interesting, and there are these 4 shivlings that represents the 4 Vedas, namely the Rig, Yajur, Atharva and Samaveda. And you also see the Bhrigeshwar Shiva, that is, it is said that it is the same Shivlingam that was worshipped by Bhrigu Rishi. You can also see a sculpture of Sriman Narayana that is flanked by the Bhuvaraha sculptures. There is also a statue for Lord Brahma. And there is a small cot now, which is kind of decked up in a very ornate bed cover kind of a thing. It's just so small, and it's believed that sage Bhrigu actually fitted into that. So these are local lores. I really don't know if there is enough proof about all that, but like I said, faith usually overtakes anything else. So for a place with so much significance, I do hope that the town planners bring in, architecture conservators so that this tiny temple gets the attention that it deserves. After all, not many civilizations can boast of such old, locations and where there was habitation. So the next place that I visited was the Neelakanteshwar Mahadev temple, which is about 7 kilometers from the Bhrigu temple. And it is situated on the banks of the river Narmada. As Bharuch is a renowned Tirtha, it's also known as Bhrigu Tirtha in many of the Hindu Puranas. and there are a host of huge temples alongside the river. Um, there is a story that says that when Ganga became polluted with millions of people bathing in her, and also putting things in water, and also you know putting the remains of cremations, she was absolutely felt unclean, and she wanted to cleanse herself. Now, this is something we really have to think about our some of our traditions. I mean, are we going to change some things which are in the traditional lore, just to save our rivers? In present times, I think the the cleanliness of rivers matters more than any other tradition. And anyway, back to the story, it is said that Ganga acquired the form of a black cow and came to Narmada to bathe in her holy waters. So it is said in our scriptures that the Narmada river is older than the river Ganga. So in that sense, she was kind of an older person which who could actually cleanse her. So we were by the Narmada Ghat, and I just did some prokshanam, as we call it, that is, take a few drops of water from the river to take her blessings. Because I wouldn't dare actually taking a dip in, because I saw so many activities around on the ghats, including washing of clothes and all that. So again, through this video, I would request that pilgrims and the administration give these ghats the respect that they deserve. We can do a lot for the upkeep and maintenance. Otherwise, these rivers may just disappear, and I really don't know what will be left, of this civilization. So from the Ghats, you can see the Golden Bridge from a distance. The Golden Bridge connects the Ankleshwar, from the town Ankleshwar to Bharuch. And it was built in 1881 by the British. And it was originally, of course, named the Narmada Bridge, but it came to be known as the Golden Bridge on account of the heavy expenditure, that was spent during the construction, and also from the damage which occurred to heavy water flow. And then, of course, after this, I managed to visit the Swaminarayan temple. And like all Swaminarayan temples, it's beautifully landscaped. And, it's ornate with stunning carvings and sculptures which are dedicated to so many luminaries in Indian mythology and recent history. So I will share those pictures and try to label what they are, and to have a look. And this is how much I managed to visit in a couple of few hours, alongside with work related activities. Now you have to tell me, people who have visited more, or residents of Bharuch, you have to tell me, batayega, what did I miss? Okay, thank you so much, and until next time, with the next new video. This is Sangeeta Venkatesh signing off. Namaste.